Whatever you say about Teh Tarik with Walid, I think the one thing you cannot say is that this show is not pro-democracy. So welcome everyone to episode 109 of Teh Tarik with Walid, and it's a unique episode. I mean that's a truism, all episodes are unique, but this one is really slightly different because I am not sure what we are doing. I am not sure whether this is even real. I am not sure whether this is a troll candidate, but this person approached me and I thought, I already made that offer. Anyone who wants to contest in the upcoming election is welcome on my show, so I have to stick by it. So we'll see how this goes. So I am supposed to be having Mr. Chia Yun Kai on. Mr. Chia Yun Kai is the founder of an a new political party, or a political party that is in the works, I think. Most valuable party, and we'll discuss. So I just see a comment from Muhammad Alush Salam from North Gaza, and may God alleviate your suffering and may God ease all of your affairs. Salam to you as well. Hi.
Hi,
Hello,
hi.
Mr. Yun
Can you
Kai.
hear me?
I can hear you, yes. How are you?
Yeah. Hi, yeah. Hi, Professor Walid. Yeah, I'm
Hi,
good.
you
I'm
can
good.
you can call me Walid. So let's get to it. Maybe you can speak just a little bit louder. You're a bit soft. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, okay, that's fine. So Yunkai, what are we doing here?
We are here to announce my new party, Most Valuable Party. Clearly, the name don't really hit off with some people, but I guess we can see how it goes from this discussion.
What is your party? Why the need to start a party? There are so many parties in Singapore. Why do you want to start
Yeah.
a party?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, the way I do things is pretty much different from how the other traditional parties do, right? Because firstly, I haven't really been involved in politics for, yeah, basically, I haven't really been involved in politics. Basically, it's just a resident coming in, trying his best to make a difference, and hopefully, being able to change the policies that's being made in Parliament that haven't been really effective over the years. So the reason why I start my own instead of joining other opposition parties is because I feel that the current opposition parties, basically the current opposition party in my constituency, which is a Workers' Party, is um, not very effective in the parliament itself in terms of the debate. And then, of course, with the recent events that's happening over at the parliament with regards to how they select their members is also something that
Hmm.
that does not resonate with me,
So
right? And
Yunkai,
then
Yunkai,
mhm.
are you seriously telling Singaporeans that you'll do a better job debating the PAP than Pritam Singh does? Or
I think I would say I'll be more straightforward, more direct, right? Perhaps I'm not as eloquent as Mr. Pritam Singh, right? I mean, he's a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer.
no one
I'm
is
just
as eloquent as him. Yeah, I'm not. You're
yeah.
not.
I
Nobody
mean,
is. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, nobody is.
his vocabulary, I would say, is amazing, right? And the way he speaks, the way he conducts himself, he has his own way, right? But then I think in terms of how I can bring value to the parliament, I think I would say I have a more direct approach, right?
Can
Getting
you
more
give
to
an
the point.
example in let's say using a debate that has happened already in Parliament? How would you approach it versus how the WP has approached it?
Like I told you before, right, I haven't really been in politics for. I haven't really been following politics itself, right? Apart from like any other ordinary Singaporeans, we just read the news, right? What comes up, what we see, what we hear is basically what we are receiving, right? So I think I would say that my style will be more like PSP Loyman one, right? I think he has been quite vocal in terms of how he questions the PAP and transparency and their accountability for the policies that they make, right? And how the current performance of their policies are being measured and performing. Yeah,
Why not join PSP then?
because they are far in the west.
Oh, that's the only reason. Because you want to contest in the east. So if PSP was in the east, you'll contest under their banner.
Yeah. So I think that you're not the first one who asked me why I don't join the PSP, right? I think yeah, I would say I will resonate more with PSP than the MWP. However, yeah, like I said, PSP is in the west and they have hardly any presence in the east. And then also, if being a young politician without any experience, right, and I don't have years of volunteering under them, I don't think they will just put me up as a candidate, right? I mean, I don't believe that's how things
Why
work.
do you think they won't put you up as a candidate? Is it because they think you wouldn't be able to win as a young politician, or
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what how most parties will
why do
think.
you think you'll be able to win then if they don't think that?
Why do I think I will be able to win? Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think there will be quite a few interesting things that I will do that is not within the norm, right? For example, I can't possibly be doing door knocking at every single house in East Coast if I run for East Coast GRC, right? So there will be other ways that I will approach reaching out to the residents,
Okay. So
and then
I
yeah.
want to explore that a bit, but maybe we backtrack a bit, right? So how many people are in the party now? And where are you intending to contest? Is it only East Coast GRC, and why East Coast GRC? Are you from East Coast GRC and hence the affinity with it?
Yeah, yeah. So right now, right, your first question, I'm the only party leader. I have two back-end members, right? As I previously mentioned to you, we are still undergoing recruiting processes. I mean, if any viewers want to join us, just drop us a WhatsApp, drop us an email. You're welcome, right? All will be considered. I think overall, the reason why I chose East Coast GRC was because I am a resident of East Coast GRC. I've been a resident there for over 20 years, right? I've attended my primary school there, my secondary school there, JC in Pasir Ris, but also basically I live in East Coast for the past 20 years and I haven't seen much progress in terms of how things have been going for East Coast, especially since the last election until now. I think DPM Hing has promised the East Coast plan, which have not really seen much. I didn't really see much improvements, right, for the past 5 years in the neighborhood estates and all. So I think, yeah, yeah,
So
that's why I'm contesting East Coast GRC.
and you think you can form a team of four to contest within the next couple of months.
Yeah,
And you need 10 members to register, right?
yeah, yeah. I will need 10 members. I mean, if I need
And
10 members, I will get 10 members.
okay, that's very confident of you. What about four people who will contest?
You mean what about them?
Yeah, as in 1 plus 3, right? So do you have them in mind or what?
I think it's five, right? No?
So you are thinking about
East Coast GRC is five,
only
right?
East Coast. You are only gonna contest in East Coast, no other GRCs, no other SMCs.
I mean, unless we have a huge pool of applicants who are very
So
confident and
so
exceeding in
minimum
expectation.
four. So have you identified the other four? So
No,
yourself
no.
plus four. You haven't identified the
Yeah,
other four.
it's still under like I say, still under recruitment process.
Don't you think the deadline is a bit tight?
Yeah, I mean, of course, if you consider, I mean, if you consider everything, it is a bit tight, but I would say, um, I would say if it is doable if the right individual comes up.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the moment you only have 3 members, including yourself. So you need 7 more
Mhm.
to register, and you haven't identified any other candidate other than yourself. what is it that you would do different? Two things. One is from the PAP. You said they haven't done a good job. What is it that you'll do different from the WP? And this is a question from Aloysius as well. So if you say that they are not effective, maybe you can point to a specific instance in which they are not effective. And then you can say the same about PAP as well, where you think they have failed.
Okay, yep. So I think for WP, with the number of seats that they have and with the number of members they have in parliament, they are not, I would say they are not as vocal as PSP, right? And throughout the last 5 years, they haven't really showed much value in terms of questioning the PAP's policies and how they are trying to show huge resistance in questioning the PAP during the parliamentary
Can you give an,
debates.
an example of an issue, if you could?
No, I can't give an example of an issue because basically I don't really hear anything from them.
I don't know whether you saw Cape Striker. Cape, you know, the student group, formerly student group,
Mm-hmm.
and they were measuring how the MPs spoke, how much they spoke, and the WP MPs do pretty all right. So I guess I mean I'm trying to understand because you are contesting not just against the PAP, against the WP, right? So
Mm-mm.
I mean surely you cannot say the WP is not doing a good job, but you cannot point to one instance of them not doing a good job.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think of course, if you want to say it that way, I can't really bring out any instance that they are not doing a good job. But I think another point would be actually how their credibility are being affected with the recent events lah. Yeah.
Okay, so you think Pritang's conviction, that is why you're stepping up basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And you think you will be able to get more votes than the WP?
Yeah, I would say so.
On what basis?
On what basis? Like I said, I think in terms of what I will be proposing, right? What I will be bringing forth in
Which is what? Which is
the
what, by the way? Which is what? What is it that you're proposing that is different? What are the policies?
so a couple of policy proposals that I think I have posted earlier this morning. Right, not sure if you guys check my Instagram
I
page.
saw it. I saw it. Yeah. But maybe you can just
Mm-hmm.
explain for those who didn't see it.
Yeah. So I think the key thing that of we'll be tackling would definitely be the cost of living, right? How we are going to push for reduction in cost of living through everyday essentials as well as healthcare, right? And then of course the second point that we are
Sorry,
focusing
how
on
are you gonna
is
do that? How are you gonna reduce the cost of living?
so we have a couple of measures that we go on. Yeah, let me get.
Yeah.
So I think so one of the measures would actually be to lower government subsidy on key essential household goods, such as rice, bread, right, eggs, and milk, just to name a few, right? And then, of course, to ensure to offer monthly hawker rebates, right? Perhaps to encourage more affordable meals for hawker food, and then so that Singaporeans who frequent the hawker centers will be able to see that there will be budget meals within the hawkers that actually uh, help them cope with the cost of living in terms of that, right? And then, of course, on to the second point, that would be actually to increase the job security and quality for Singaporeans, right? So that includes, I won't go too into detail because I don't want to be revealing everything until I get confirmation. I
Confirmation of
get the
what?
right people. I get the right people, right?
Okay.
I mean,
But you won't get the right people if you don't have the policies and the philosophy, right, of the party.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, it's a catch
Yeah,
22, right?
but overall is, I mean, I've already put up what I want to put up in terms of where my policy proposals
Right.
are heading
But you know,
towards, right?
what you said just now about the cost of living, I think that's very valid. I think you have specific suggestions. But if I were to look at improved job security, every party says that, even the PAP says that, right? But if you're not going to tell us how that looks like, then it's just
Mm-hmm.
a slogan, right? Instead of anything.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
provide
Definitely,
families with
definitely.
work-life balance. But what does that mean? I guess
Yeah.
the fulfill the last wish of our founding father. I presume you're referring to demolishing 38 at Oxley Road. Okay, that's very
Yes.
clear at least, right? And
Mm-hmm.
review and improve the efficiency of all government agencies. But so what the meat to the bones, right? What is the
Yeah.
meat to the bones here?
Okay. So I guess you're just asking me to show my hand, right?
Well, I'm
Go on.
asking you to show your hand to Singaporeans and
Yes,
voters. Yeah,
definitely. Right.
yeah.
I mean, okay. Yeah. So of course, increasing the Singapore job security. I think one of the key things is everyone is concerned is of course with the foreign talent coming in, how they are taking up our jobs, right? So I think what's important is that we need to ensure that the foreign talent coming in will have Singaporeans tagged to them, right? In terms of if a company is able to justify bringing in a foreign talent that has talent Singaporeans do not have, right? One of the key things is to ensure that Singaporeans are learning from that talent, right? Because we don't want to just bring in foreign talent just to cover the lack of talent in Singapore, right? But more so to ensure that Singaporeans are able to learn from this foreign talent and
So
to yeah. So basically, is to ensure that each foreign talent in a high position will have to at least tag two Singaporeans to that position, right? So that companies will show that they are ensuring Singaporeans are getting more benefits by being mentored or rather following the foreign talent that they bring in.
you don't think that's happening now with the quotas and like
No,
if
I
you have
think
one
I think
foreigner, you have to have this number of Singaporeans. You don't think it's
I
enough?
think
Or
quota is not enough. I think quota can be. I mean, I do have my own. I do run my own business. I know how the quota works. Right. Quota thing can be. There are loopholes to
yeah,
quota,
it can
right?
be for sure,
And
for sure. Yeah,
right,
it can
and
be.
then it can be played around.
Yeah. But
And
sorry, what is your own business? What do you do, Yunkai?
I do a F&B business. I also do a arts business. Yeah, art studio
Why
business.
do you why why are you cagey about what is a relatively simple question? It's not a trap question. It's just what you do.
When you run for opposition, you have to be careful.
But if
In
you
case,
run
like,
for a position, but if you cannot tell Singaporeans what you do, don't you
yeah,
think it's a bit sus that
yeah, I know, right? But yeah, I do run an F&B myself. But my family did run an F&B too. And then we also run an art studio with my partner. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean in terms of ensuring that Singaporeans do learn from foreign talent, that's one of the thing, right? And then second thing is ensuring that their salary are increased. So what's the difference in terms of my proposal is that I want to ensure that Singaporeans are getting the right amount of salary, or rather salary that is comparable to what foreign talents are getting. So to put it bluntly, I was affected by foreign talents before, right? I had a foreign talent manager and I had been replaced by a foreign talent itself, right? So I think these are things that if we ensure that Singaporean salaries are also tagged to the salaries of EPs, right? it will ensure that actually Singaporeans are getting the justified amount of salary, or rather a higher amount of salary than they should actually get.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know what's the most common question I got when I advertise this? Do
Tell
you
me
want to
about
guess?
it.
Do you want to guess
Is it a scam? Is it a troll?
That's one. The other one is this guy is this guy planted by PAP? Because there's no
Uh,
chance that a person who doesn't even have a party thinks they can win against the Workers' Party. There's no chance, right? It's just that probably they are there to split the vote. So how would you respond to
yeah,
such allegations?
such allegations. You just check my volunteering history lah. I swear to you, I don't have anything. I haven't volunteered for any
What do you mean?
PAP
We don't
stuff.
even know your job. How to check your volunteering history? Like you're
I
cagey
believe
about
you.
everything.
I
How to
believe you got my LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, I mean LinkedIn. You said LinkedIn can be. I can write anything on LinkedIn. I can appear like the next Prime Minister of Singapore on LinkedIn. You know,
Yeah,
LinkedIn is not believable,
think
right? Yeah.
I think um this theory that PAP plants a second opposition party. I think if they really do plant me, they should get more people. At least allow me another 9 people to start a party, right? Not
Okay.
just one person coming up on a show
So
and try
your
to
so
recruiting.
your retort to that is the weakness of your party shows that you are not planted by the PAP.
Yeah,
Right.
I
But the
mean they would
weakness,
be smarter to do.
but the fact that your party cannot get 10 people, why do you think you even stand a chance against the Workers' Party? Never mind the PAP. Why do you think you stand a chance against the Workers' Party?
Like I said, the credibility for Workers' Party has I feel it has been affected, right? Whether is it an appealed conviction or whatever the case is, it is a fact that WP got a MP that lied in Parliament. So to me, okay, if you were to ask me, right, if I was a resident of East Coast, I would doubt. I mean, I would have some doubt, right? I wouldn't say 100% doubt the entire WP due to this incident, right? But there will be some, uh, right, some small thoughts that
Sure, but don't you think people would doubt the new party that hasn't had enough members and wants to take on the most successful opposition party in Singapore? Don't you think there'll be more doubts about your party than about the Workers' Party?
So I think they may have some doubt if you look in terms of the number of the party strength, right?
Not just
If you are
party strength,
looking,
party ideology, like you coming out of nowhere, like a new party,
mm,
and you know already it's hard enough to go against the PAP, but now you want to split the votes. So many more doubts about your party than than the WP, right?
I mean, at the end of the day, is the voters' choice, right?
Agreed,
I'm
agreed.
just,
Of course,
to
of
me
course.
is I'm just coming from an East Coast resident perspective, right? I'm here to express myself as a so-called frustrated East Coast resident, right?
Okay, fair enough.
Whether I do the complaining in coffee shops, right? Whether I choose to do complaining in coffee shops or to make sure that I turn this complaining into something that's actionable is two different things, right? At
Yeah,
the
but
end
there are
of the
many
day,
many actionable plans, right? Including joining
mm,
other parties. But you chose this
mm,
specific one. So that's why
mm,
people are asking, right? Why this specific
yeah,
one and why East Coast? When the WP has been contesting there for 15, 20, 25 years, and then you are
mm-hmm.
coming in less than 1 month, you want to set up and think that. Don't you think that is, on one hand, right, I admire that level of confidence. I really do. That just gung ho-ness, I really do. And I respect you for that. On the other hand, don't you feel there's a certain sense of entitlement as well, thinking that you haven't done the groundwork, you haven't walked the ground at all. You said you are probably not going to go to every house in East Coast, which is a red flag if I am a voter. By the way, my family lives in East Coast. My mom lives in East Coast. I grew up in Simei. I'm in Tampines now. Don't you think that's a bit of a red flag compared to a party that has been working the ground for close to 2 decades?
I mean, if you put it that way, whether
I mean, it's factual, right? It's not factual, right? What I just said.
Mhm,
Don't you think?
mhm.
Like,
Uh, I think I think how voters want to see it, whether is it a red flag or not, or is it just a young gun coming up, right? I mean, just a young guy coming up trying to push forward for the next generation of leaders, right? Is another thing, right? I mean, if if I'm able to convince them, right, that I'm just any frustrated 32-year-old sandwich generation person trying to come up to fight for my own rights, right? That to fight for my own rights, to show that I am able to create policies that is more effective, more efficient than the current incumbent party, then then probably they will believe me, right? And then whether I understand that, um, of course, WP has put in their resources and work to run this to how to say, yeah, the groundwork in East Coast GRC, right? Of course, I believe that they do, but um, I think they are also putting in groundworks for many other areas, not just East Coast, right? They have put in groundworks for Tampines, they have put in groundworks for Pasir Ris, they have put in groundworks for Marine Parade,
not
they have put
Pasir
in
Ris, I
groundworks for
think,
East
but yes,
Coast,
yes.
right?
East Coast,
So
Marine Parade, Tampines. Yeah.
yeah, they are expanding in terms of these areas. And with their recent, um, I think their recent firing of Nicole Chia and Leon Pereira, I think the strength in those two candidates, or rather the residents who favored those two candidates are actually quite high
Yeah,
from what I
but
see.
Leon is not in East Coast. Leon is in Aljunied. He
Mm-hmm.
was formerly from
Okay,
East
yeah,
Coast. But yeah, you're right. I agree with you about Nicole. I think the WP teams there is weaker now without Nicole.
yeah.
But your team
So
doesn't have
I
Nicole
think
as well, right? Your team doesn't have a Nicole, so you are still not as strong as their team, right? Unless you are here to
hopefully
announce,
if
unless
yeah,
you are
yeah,
here
if
to announce that
Nicole, if
Nicosia
you are
has joined.
reading, if you're watching this,
If you are here to announce that Nicosia is joining your party, then I say okay, you can run. Like you should run. But your team doesn't have Nicole or a Nicole as well, right? So why would? Because ultimately this is comparative. This is not absolute. Elections are all comparative. So why would um, your team
yeah,
still be
sorry.
in a better position? No, it's okay. Yeah. Why would your team still be in a better position?
Yeah. So I think the way I do not know if my team will be in a better position, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I still have to get the right candidate. I just cannot get Tom, Dick, and Harry to fill up the other four spaces just for me to go out and
Why
announce
don't you
that I'm
contest in an SMC? So you
cause
don't
I
have to
don't
worry
feel
about
that
this. You believe in yourself. You contest in an SMC, and then
cause I feel that I see how Mr. Leong was in the parliament alone. Quite lonely. As in,
I,
like, if one person, it's very difficult to make an impact, right? And it's better if you have a few people behind you. Of course, if you want to win, right? You either win 5 seats, or if not, winning 1 seat.
but you
I
don't
mean,
have. I agree with you. I think what you say is true. I would say this about Dr. Chi. I would say Dr. Chi, don't go to Sembawang. Dr. Chi Sunjan, you win in a GRC, right? Go big or go home, right? But you don't have 5 members, let alone 5 candidates, right? So why do you think? Why not go to Tampere Changkat? You can run. You don't need 4 other candidates.
mm, I mean, I can try.
Okay, so you're open to that still.
I guess if there isn't really any choice, it might be an option lah. It might be an option.
Okay, fine. Um, one of the I want to get back to some of the issues that we've discussed already. But one of the biggest issues for a segment of Singaporeans, one of the biggest issues is Palestine. What is your, I want to say your party stand on it, but it's essentially your stand on it. What is your stand
Which one?
on Palestine?
Palestine.
Yeah.
Um, I would say I don't really have much to comment on that. Because I think Singaporeans um, may have more concerning needs um, in terms of what they have to address in the parliament, and of course, what they have to address if they are struggling to make ends meet, right? They are struggling with cost of living and all. I think of course, as much as I would love to, I would show concern in terms of what is happening over there. But yeah, but I think there are more important policies that Singaporeans have
Sure,
to focus on,
but
right?
as and that may be true that some Singaporeans are more interested in other issues, but it's not a trivial issue for many Singaporeans as well. So if you are going to be a serious party, then surely you should have some thoughts about the major issues of our time, right? And this is one of the major issues of our time. If not, I mean, it worries me a bit that that question. I don't know. Did that question caught you by surprise? Catch you by surprise, or
Uh, Not really, not really.
yeah? So
But
I mean, it worries me a bit that the answer is, oh, your party doesn't have, you don't have any serious thoughts on it, right? I mean, how would we be able to take a party seriously if they don't have? Palestine is one of it. I haven't mentioned other things, of course, but Palestine is one of it. But or you think that no matter what, all you need to do is talk about cost of living, and you can win. You don't need to have any other policies about anything else.
I think this type of international issues should be left to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, right?
Then
I mean,
what's
it's
the
for
point of
them.
having you in parliament if you are going to trust the PAP for everything? Why have you in parliament?
I'm here to address the issues of Singaporeans, right? I'm running an election for Singapore,
Yeah,
and I believe
but
that
I mean, as a Singaporean, I am telling you I care about the issue, right? Walid is telling you, right? So what would your response to me be? You cannot tell me that Singaporeans don't care about this issue when I'm telling you I am a Singaporean. I care about this issue. What is it? What is your party's platform for people like me?
I believe there's activist groups that supports the Palestine incident and all.
All right, okay. So
But
I'll leave it at that. I think
yeah,
the audience can judge those answers,
yeah.
right? Do you have confidence that you'll get back your deposit if you contest in a three? Okay, firstly, before I get to that, the deposit, if it's a three corner fight, have you approached WP?
Yeah, I did.
And
No response.
okay, do you think they'll respond to you?
Uh, I think, I mean, it really depends on them, right?
Of course, it depends on them. But do you think they'll respond to you?
Yeah, I think if I do get announced on, I do get increase in awareness, they will respond to my party.
And
But
you think they'll step aside?
in no, I don't think so. I have sources informing me that it's unlikely they'll step aside.
And you don't need sources, bro. I can tell you they won't step aside.
See,
I haven't talked. I haven't talked to them. I know they won't
that's
step
why.
aside. You don't need inside sources for that, right? I mean, and why
Yeah,
should
yeah.
they? Like, why should they if they've been contesting that? They have had NCMPs from 2011 and 2015 from East Coast, right? So Gerald
Mm-hmm.
Yam and then Leon Pereira. So why should they step aside? It doesn't even make sense, right? So, but you
Mm.
are, no matter what, you will contest. Even if WP is contesting, you are hell bent on contesting them.
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't mind splitting the opposition vote.
It's not about splitting the opposition vote. Yeah. It's about standing up for the East Coast residents
So,
and
but
the
in the
other
process,
Singaporeans.
I know that's not your intention, but in the process, that could happen, right?
Of course. I will, of course, it will definitely happen. It's not something that could happen, right? But it's not as if, like you said, it's not as if they are going to give way, right? And it's not as if, I mean, there's another possibility, which is if they do provide me a seat at the at a candidate seat at the East Coast GRC, then I won't contest lah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So,
Which like I said, right, it's also very difficult for them in terms of how they want to approach this. I mean, at the end of the day, it's their decision. But in terms of splitting the opposition votes, I wouldn't think so. It's, I have my own reasons to stand up, right? And my own um, list of things that I want to do as a politician, right? The number of things that are, the number of the policies that I think that are most crucial to Singaporeans, that is the reason why I want to stand, right? Now you're asking me if I'm going to split the opposition party's vote. I think at the end of the day, it's just Singapore voting for three people, three parties, right?
hmm. Uh, yes, yes, definitely. I personally think that it's not an issue. If people contest, let the voters decide, right? And I actually also think that you probably will not be splitting the votes because I think we have the precedence for this, right? If you remember the Punggol East by election, it was a four-cornered fight. And the WP was one of the parties there. And the WP won that one. And the two other parties contesting, SDA and Reform Party, they got 1.2 and 0.7% of the votes. And that's really bad. Like 0.7% of the votes, right? That's really bad. So basically they didn't really split the votes, right? Because the elections wasn't turned on 1.9%
Yes,
of the
yes.
electorate. So I don't think you'll split the votes, but that's only because I think, and this is not about your party, any smaller party against the WP, I don't think they're going to get back their deposit. I said this to Mr. Goh Ming Singh as well. I think if he contested in Tampines against the WP, he's not going to get back his deposit. Um, and I think if your party contests there as well, you are not going to get back your deposit. What do you think? How would you respond to me based on what I said?
In terms of getting back the deposit,
I think so. I think you will not get back your deposit if you contest in East Coast.
I think I will. That's all I can say.
Okay.
What else do you
So
want me to say?
let's hold you to it. So if you do not, you come back on. You come back and say it was a mistake. And if you get back, I'll have come you back. I'll have you back, and then I'll say I completely misread it. Okay. So that's a deal. It's
Okay.
a gentleman's agreement. All right. So, but it doesn't seem to me like your party is or you are super serious about contesting. Right? So if you were
In
if
what way?
because I don't see clear policies, I don't see you don't even have candidates. The Palestinian thing, which is one of the topics of our generation, I would say, one of the moral issues of our generation. You have nothing to say, and your response is Singaporeans care about other things. You were critical of WP at the start, but you said, oh, if they have you in your party, in their party, then you will not form your party. So it just doesn't seem like you're running out of conviction. You're running out of expediency, political expediency. And you said that the only reason why you are not contesting with the PSP is because they are too far away. So all those things make me think that you are not really a serious party or candidate, right? How will you respond to that?
Like I said, in terms of the policies, right, that I have, right, definitely I did think of those that I would like to push forward for, right? And then of course, um, pushing forward is one thing, right? And then of course, you were saying that the whole other areas. I think like I said, to me is the way I operate is not a traditional politician way of operating. I think I do have what I look for is to ensure that my party is able to resonate with people and to let them know that these are the policies that I'm going to be pushing for.
But
If you
how is
resonate
that
with,
different from a traditional party? All parties do that. Right? What is it? You've said a few times the way you operate is different from um, or the way you are gonna operate because your party hasn't operated, right? Actually, so what is different? You just say it's gonna resonate with Singaporeans, but every party says that. The PAP also says that, right? There is no difference. But I don't understand what this I comment, these two eyes. I don't know what it means. I'm not Gen Z, but it's yeah, yeah.
I
So
also don't know.
yeah. So maybe I read off. Maybe before you respond, Yunkai, I read out some comments just to see, give you a taste, right? Of. So
Okay.
Haikal says, "Bro, how much are you paid to run?" Just wondering. Angie says the party is a hypothetical, imaginary one at this point in time. W.Y. Tan says, "Bro, you are the traditional opposition, just Mickey Mouse nonsense." So not too kind, not too kind. But how would you respond?
It's
This
okay.
is part of the
Oh,
course,
oh,
right?
oh,
If you're gonna join,
yeah.
yeah.
Don't worry, all online comments are never kind. I
That
experienced
is
that.
true. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. Good. But you get the sense why people are so skeptical, right? Or do you not see that, or do you understand why people are skeptical, and you think you have a lot to prove?
I think I have a lot to prove, right? Definitely. Uh, firstly, uh, firstly, the name of my party is already not traditional itself. So to say that I'm a traditional party is not true. Okay. And
But
then
it
of
cannot be.
course,
Every party's name is different. So Red Dot United is a traditional party because its party name is different. Like, cannot be right. Like, that cannot be the
everything
answer.
everything got to do with Singapore, right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, okay. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
by in all seriousness,
Yeah.
I think uh the way I'm different is how I am just an ordinary Singaporean trying to run for this election, right? Trying to win the votes of the voters of East Coast GRC, right? And how an ordinary Singaporean, what's the difference between me and the rest is that I have been through quite a bit in terms of the traditional way of how Singaporeans are so-called trained to go through, right? You study well, you go to JC, right? And then you try to get into uni, get a good degree, get a good job, and after that get smart. When you go up to that certain level, you get fired, and then so there's a lot of what I'm fighting for is mainly for the working class people, right? The middle generation, and then in terms of basically the sandwich generation who has to take care of the aging population as well as people who are concerned to take care of their future generations, their children and all, right? So if you ask me, those people are the ones trying to make the ends meet, right? And those are the people that the parents are also concerned about, right? I'm concerned about, whether my child can take care of himself, whether my child is going to have a house in the future, right?
Yeah.
So if you ask me, I think I do focus on the more pressing issues, right? Definitely, I understand your concerns about other issues that is your priority, right? But to me is I look at the bigger picture, right? we have to settle what's the issue, or what's the unhappiness internally within Singapore first before we, and then like I said, if you're talking about foreign issues, then I'll leave it to the foreign minister.
It's this. I think this is the most unconvincing pitch for an opposition. Because when it comes to foreign policy, let's trust the PAP. Then I'm thinking, if you have that much faith in the PAP, then I think let's trust them on domestic policy over you as well, right? Why? Like the purpose of an opposition is
Well,
to
I,
provide.
I don't I don't
Okay.
see now I want to make it very clear, right?
Please, please, please.
I'm not an opposition party just to oppose the PAP.
Understood.
PAP do have capable leaders. I do believe that, right? I'm not
Understood.
saying
So
everyone in PAP is bad,
agreed. I agree.
right? But
But
they
but
do
but
not
let's
have.
say, Yunkai, so specifically, I mean, even I'm not asking you to oppose the PAP. I am saying, do you agree with the PAP's policies? I mean, it could be that, oh, I actually agree with the PAP's policies on Perez, and I think that's a fair answer.
I mean, out
But
of 100 policies, or assuming there's 100 policies that they make, right? There are quite a few that I do not agree with, right? And I do have them with me, right? The list of things that I do not agree with.
right, okay,
But it's not as if they come up with one policy, I'll immediately reject, right? To me, is the value that I bring is how I want to put Singaporeans first in every single policy. How
understood.
I
So
feel that the policy benefits Singaporeans,
understood. Okay,
right?
so just now you said a few things, right? Because I hear a lot of words that make me think you are quite steeped in American online politics. And I don't know. I don't know that for. Are you?
Uh,
Do you follow it a bit?
yeah, I do follow a
Yeah,
bit.
so that's
Yes,
why
yes,
I
yes.
heard some language that I'm very, very familiar with
Mm-hmm,
in
mm-hmm.
the American context when you say the party of the working class and so on, and ordinary Singaporeans first. But all the parties, what is this extraordinary or different Singaporeans? How is the opposition, the existing opposition parties, not ordinary Singaporeans? Because you
How
said
are they
the
not
difference
ordinary?
between you and them is you are an ordinary Singaporean. Okay, maybe with the PAP you can say, oh, they are the creme de la creme, the elites. But
Creme de la creme.
the opposition parties, how are they not ordinary Singaporeans?
I mean, they are also quite capable. I wouldn't say they are.
No, no, it's not about capable or not. It's
I
about
mean,
ordinary versus not ordinary. Like,
ordinary, yeah. Okay lah. Definition.
oops, I think I lost you. As in the connection, not that. Yeah. Okay, you're back. You're back. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. So I think ordinary in terms of how I go uh to put it lesser, it would be like a neighborhood school, right?
Lawrence Wong
Just
also
have
came from Tanjong Katong Secondary. Bro, that is a
no,
2020.
bro. You know how many schools is below Tanjong Katong
Bro,
Secondary?
I know, I know. Bro, that's 2020, all the PAP MPs, I came from this school, normal acad. It didn't work in 2020, Surely your pitch must be better than that.
Okay lah. I think a lot of it is mainly because I am of the age of the sandwich generation. Yeah, that's
Okay, fine.
mainly it, right? Yeah, I'm not exactly struggling to make ends meet, but I understand the pain and struggles lah
Okay.
of most Singaporeans. I live in a HDB like any other Singaporeans, right? And I'm also like any other Singaporeans thinking twice whether to start a family or not, right? Because of everything that's happening around me, and also of all the work commitment and the job security issues lah.
Okay. So I think I've been quite hard on you, so let's end off easy, right? But thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate you doing this. I appreciate you actually putting yourself out there. I have a lot of respect for you for that, right? Because I wouldn't dare do it. So I have a lot of respect for you doing that. So there's a question here actually in the inbox by Jonathan. Has this conversation with Walid made you actually reconsider running for GE, or has it strengthened your resolve?
So I think I need to give the viewers a background of how 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 this uh live stream came about with Walid, right?
Yeah.
Is I message you
Yeah. Yes.
mainly to say that, hey, if you want to introduce any candidates or volunteers to me, since you are you have been quite into politics and you do have quite a bit of followers, and that's how this live stream started off, right? So I think what my objective to join this live stream is mainly to show what my party has to offer, right? Of course, I cannot show everything. I try to explain some things. I try to explain my stance, right? I try to show, uh, bas as you can see, right? I mean, at the start of this post itself is already say I'm a one person, of course with two other
Yeah.
back end members, right? So I cannot cover everything, and like I said, I haven't been following politics all along, but I'm just an ordinary Singaporean who's trying to run for politics to make sure that the needs of Singaporeans are met, the needs of Singaporeans are solved, we come up with solutions, and then we solve the problem, right? In terms of how we are operating, if any of you are interested, you can always WhatsApp me or email me. And for those who's saying I'm using ChatGPT, no, I'm just following an Excel that I have it, right? I don't have
Right.
everything at the back of my head, but I do have an Excel, right? It's not ChatGPT stuff. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate. I think you have to ignore the comments if you are doing live. You have to ignore. I mean, I have to read the comments. But for the guests, they have to ignore because sometimes it can be a bit brutal as well. So, if I were to ask you, I mean, two questions to end this off. What happens if you
Hmm.
cannot get uh, however many? I mean, I don't know. Those two back end ones, are they running or?
No, they're not running.
Okay,
Definitely
so
not
what
running.
happens if you don't get the other candidates?
I think, yeah, I think if I don't get the other candidates, it will be a difficult. It will be a tall ask for me to um to carry on, right? Basically, like I said at the start, if I want to make an impact, I will try to make sure that I do go for the GRCs, right? Running for an SMC, and unless you're telling me the SMC is Bodok SMC, I don't think I will be running for an SMC
Tampines
lah.
Changkat. Tampines Changkat is a
I
new one.
I mean I can try if I really want to,
Is that
but
adjacent to East Coast?
I will have to study the area there lah. Yeah, that's all
Okay.
I can say. I have to study the area there. I mean, like all the comments saying, maybe my deposit won't be back.
I think, as I said,
But
I think that is just true. And this is not just about you, about any other smaller
mhm,
party versus WP. I'm pretty convinced that those parties will not get back their deposits. Um,
yeah,
so especially if it's in a GRC, that's tens of thousands of dollars. That's $70,000 and so on. So I mean, again, a lot of respect for you for even considering that. For even
yes,
considering
yes.
that. Yeah. So if you were in Parliament, you got into Parliament in May, in June, right? Miracles do
Mm-hmm.
happen. Who knows, right? If you
Yeah, I
get
know,
into
right?
if you get into Parliament, right? What is the first order of business? What is the first thing you'll do?
First order of business. Yeah, I think first order of business, as much as anything, I will be pushing out basically the list of policies that I have prepared, right, to tackle the different issues. definitely to push out the most pressing solutions, right, or pressing policies that I have prepared, and then of course to make sure that it goes through, and to make sure and to ensure that I'm able to convince the other parliament people that these are the effective policies that needs to be gone
Which one
through.
specifically? The first one that you do?
So first one, definitely cost of living, right?
Which policy?
I
I
would
mean,
say
which
the
policy?
government subsidy on essential household goods, and hawker ensuring affordable hawker food for Singaporeans, right? Uh, and then of course the second policies would be increasing the job security for Singaporeans, and then of course job salaries and opportunities. And then there will be definitely other policies that I also have, which I don't want to bore you down
No. Please
with,
go away.
but
Go away.
so definitely I do have preference, like most younger uh most younger salary workers. uh I would say that introduce a compulsory 2-day work from home for families with young kids, right? I do understand the concerns, so that ensuring that if you have a 2-day work from home, of course not for operational staff, right? For those who has the ability to work from home, and then to hopefully be able to allow parents to balance their childcare, as in their care for their children, lah, right? Basically, they are able to manage their own younger children,
Right.
and then increase subsidy for baby deliveries, um, half COE price for younger families, right? I think that's one of the key issues. Cars are getting expensive, but families still need to go around, and that's what all my friends are telling me, right? They have young families, but then they are forced to get a car, and then all the expenses just double. So, and then of course, yeah, I
And
think yeah.
actually, those are pretty decent policy proposals, I have to admit. And maybe you have to find a way to sell them more. Yeah, so thank you so much, you guys. It's been 1 hour. I can't believe that we have had. And this, I think the comment section, this is the most lit one. I can't remember whether Goming Singh's episode, the comment section was wilder, because I just had blocked off that memory. But this one, the comment section was pretty lit. I really appreciate it. I wish you all the best, whatever you do. I wish you all the best. And as I said, I am not as brave as you. I'm a coward. A lot of respect for you. Even though I don't think you'll win, I don't think you'll get back your deposit, but you're a far braver person than me. You are the courage you are displaying is what I think more Singaporeans need to display. So for that, you have my respect. I genuinely mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Thanks.
Thank you, Yunkai. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.